Hey guys, I am Ibigandscary. I'm bringing you Game 4 in this series between RoxkisTITAN and AcerNerchio. This is for a monthly tournament that takes place over in the UK. Go4, I believe. Go4 Starcraft, something like that. So this is their final series. Currently the games favor Nerchio by 1, I believe. It's 2-1 for 2 wins for Nerchio, 1 win for Titan is what I'm trying to say here. Green, Zerg, top right corner, AcerNerchio, pro gamer, straight up masters. Bottom left, RoxkisTITAN, blue, Protoss. Just both incredible players, both really good. Titan already showing an evolution of his gameplay, throwing down that first pylon right by his nexus, where he normally throws it is down here, doing that whole forge fast expand, but it hasn't really paid off for him in the last game, as we saw. So he's just trying to change things up, see what else happens. You know, I'm trying to change things up too. I'm trying to learn how to scroll clicking the middle mouse button, and so you're going to see an awful lot of that in this game. Something else you're going to see a lot of is action. I can guarantee that pretty much. Gateway going down, spawning pool going down, so we're going to be seeing a lot of players creating a lot of units coming up. The spawning pool, of course, is going to finish just a little bit behind the gateway, but that doesn't mean that the Zerg's going to be behind it all. In fact, he's probably going to have a little bit of an economic edge by not throwing down the expensive unit first. You can see that Titan is saving up for a nexus, and he's bringing down his probe, going to throw down a pylon first and then go to harvest some minerals. The drone is in the way though, and is already chipping away at that shielding and now doing structural hull damage. Unfortunately, it gets sandwiched, takes down the first probe, but the severely weakened drone is going to have to micro effectively to dance away. The second probe does succeed in throwing down the nexus, but with no other structures succeeding in walling off that gap there. These two Zerglings might cause some significant problems for Titan. Not finishing off that gap would be a large mistake, but he's got plenty of time and plenty of opportunity to fill that up. The probe comes back from chasing away that drone and throws down the forge. Hopefully we'll see a cannon behind it in a more defensible location, and then another gateway or maybe even a cybernetics core to finish up that wall, and there goes that cyber core. You can see that Nerchio is taking advantage of the momentary ceasefire that's lasting between the two by throwing down a hatchery in response to the nexus. The probe gets chased away by the Zergling, while an overlord overlooks 3 Zerglings squeezing just barely through that wall off, chased by Angry Zealot, that photon cannon not finishing off enough, finishing up in time to head off that aggression. So 3 Zerglings make it in. Not an awful lot to do a lot of damage to a line, but definitely enough to buy some time for Nerchio to grab that third that he's been doing for the last couple of games. This early third allows him to respond faster to any pressure that Titan puts, and it allows him to basically lose that third expand and not lose a lot of drones because his saturation split up between the 3 different bases. I really like that play, but we're going to see if Titan, who's already shown that he can adapt to different gameplay styles, finds a good way to counter that. We see that gas has been grabbed on both geysers, and he's already got probes lined up to start mining. Probe count is a little bit in favoring of Titan, which is to be expected. I mean, it's Protoss, they've got that chrono boost, but the income is pretty much dead even, a little bit favoring Titan, but again, that's to be expected with the Protoss. What's really going to differentiate the Zerg here is whenever he gets up that third, once he gets this saturated 100%, once he buys enough time to 100% macro off of that, he's going to overpower Titan with a strong Roach play, evidently with the Roach Warren finishing up in the top play. You can see that there's 5 gateways coming down for Titan, so it looks like he in turn is preparing for some aggression, as he has thrown down a pylon on the north side of things. Either he heavily suspects or more likely has scouted out this third and knows that this is where he's going to throw down the next round of aggression. Roaches are hitting the field though, so the aggression that's coming out of Titan is going to be met with fierce resistance by Nerchio. Warp Gate just now finishing up, and so we can see that both players are poised to put aggression on the other player. 3 roaches come down, find 2 zealots which are unprotected. However, 3 stalkers get immediately warped in. You can see that there's 400 gas saved up by Titan right now, and he's going to spend that on those costly stalkers, and they're going to do a lot of damage to these roaches. At the same time, it appears that Nerchio is taking advantage of the momentary absence of the army by forcing his way in by 6 roaches. He's going to be taking damage up at that third, but these roaches, if they can batter down, the difference between that third and this natural is that this natural is occupied. If these roaches make it into the probe line and do enough damage there, then they're going to be hitting the economy where it hurts. No drones are up at that third right now, and so even though it did go down, the amount of resources lost are substantially less than the amount of resources lost to Titan by these Zerglings in that probe line. Those Zerglings do get cleared up, and the roaches push in. Sees the tech is basically 6 warp gates in its entirety. So this pressure on both sides is going to be 100% dealt with, but more Zerglings are rushing into the probe line, this time moving up into the natural. I just wanted to make sure that there weren't any Zerglings left down and had dealt damage to the natural expand completely, but it looks like these 6 are going to get cleared up by the army force also. Same time, another wealth of Zerglings, not going to miss it this time. They pour into the natural, once again doing massive damage, 21 to 31 drones. I told you that the Protoss really like to be ahead on the worker count, and now we can see that the Protoss is very much behind. AcerNerchio is going to be feeling very confident with his economic lead. You can see it's pretty much double right now, and that's because he didn't take much of an economic hit. However, his entire standing force has been taken down, so he's going to throw down, it looks like 6, 7, 8 spine crawlers, and they are going to have to hold off this incoming push from all the forces that were left behind by his damage to that main. It's a good thing he didn't try to take that third again, because it would have gone down pretty much instantly, as these spine crawlers are barely going to be finishing before the attack begins. That first line's not going to go quite finish up, but maybe 1 or 2 will. 1 gets canceled as Titan pushes in, meeting the heavy resistance from the spine crawlers. He's deciding to force an engagement. Force fields go down on the spine crawlers, preventing the drones from slipping between the 2, but enough damage has been done to the standing force that prevents them back. At the same time, Zerglings poking at the front, looks like they've done some significant damage to the Cybernetics core, but they were pushed back by a handful of zealots in the area, as was Titan. So it looks like both players having to pull back a little bit, not quite content to let up the aggression. It looks like Nerchio is pushing out with another highly mobile force of Zerglings. I really like how he's using those Zerglings. And I also like how he's got 4 Hydralisks on the way. Hydralisks are going to help out against the heavy range of the Stalkers, but unless he gets some roaches to protect them, they're not going to be able to survive for very long in that matchup. An excellent force field going down to protect that expensive and time-consuming Cybernetics core. He does not want that to go down to that Zergling harass. 4 Hydras come down. It looks like both players are going to have to rethink the tactics that they're using, and it looks like Titan has decided to throw down 2 Stargates, maybe transition into Phoenix Harass to knock down that worker count that he is still behind by about 10. At the same time, Nerchio is throwing up that hatchery that he lost in the 3rd and continuing to harass with these Zerglings. He's going to attack that already severely weakened Cybernetics core, and it is going to go down. And his zealots will slip through unabated to counter that sentry, completely surrounded, and then slip up into the main, where he's going to spot those 2 Stargates. He's already got Hydras, many on the way, which is an excellent counter to air units in general. I mean, they do a fantastic amount of damage, and he's got some Phoenixes coming out. Void Rays are excellent whenever you have enough of them and when they're hidden, but Phoenixes are great even if the enemy knows that they're coming, just because of their ability to lift off pretty much anything. 2 Evoke Chambers coming down. Looks like Nerchio is preparing to focus on the late game, double down on the amount of upgrades that he needs to take in order to stay ahead in this matchup. While Titan's already 0-1 for ground weapons, Nerchio has fallen a little bit behind, but with that double Evo, he's going to be able to pick right up. Looks like Nerchio is repositioning his spine crawlers to help defend that third, while the Phoenixes do come out on the field, all 4 of them. If any of those make it into a probe line, they can pick up and deal some heavy damage to those probes very quickly because they're light units. But these Hydras, with their high mobility on the creep, are going to be able to counter them very effectively. Unfortunately, Nerchio is supply blocked, so he's not quite able to get all of the Hydras that he needs to get on the field in order to counter them successfully. Zerglings rushing down, trying to exploit that hole created by the Cybernetics Core, but with the Zealot in position and that Cybernetics Core back up, nothing's going to happen there. Probe was in position to take that third maybe, and they've gone down while these Phoenixes continue to poke in and out and get pushed away by those Hydras. Anytime those Phoenixes see an Overlord, they're going to try to take a couple of pot shots here and there, but it looks like they've got more important fish to fry. You can see that this is a big problem for Titan right here. He doesn't have the amount of gas that he wants. Gas-heavy units, he wants more and more geysers taken advantage of. He wants to get more gas so that he can get more tech-heavy units out on the field and harass, and he's having to rely more on Zealots than he really wants to. It's a problem, and it's a position that he's been placed into by Nerchio and his harass. However, can't really discount the fact that Nerchio's got an excellent sized army and a fleet beacon on the way. With that third expand going down, he's definitely going to have enough gas to get those tech-heavy units that he wants out. The Roach Hydralisk army is starting to mass up for Nerchio, and he's approaching max. And with his heavy economy, Nerchio's going to soon have an army that he can just simply throw away and re-macro pretty much instantaneously, as long as he can keep his Overlords in place and keep that supply count up. You can see both upgrades are finishing up in Roach Speed. We've got Zealot Charge and a Templar Archives coming up too. Archons are going to be an excellent choice in this matchup, as well as Storm on those Hydras. Phoenixes basically unabashedly picking up Roaches that are left undefended in the middle of the field. If there were any Hydras around, they'd be able to do damage. Unfortunately, those Hydras are in position to take out this third, which is soon to be saturated. This is going to be another heavy hit for Titan if his army wasn't already in position to intercept it. So this is going to be a nice clash. You can see the Guardian Shields coming down and the Phoenixes swing into position at the same time. Roach is pushing it at the front door, taking down that, but this is where the damage is being dealt. So we're going to watch that a little bit more carefully. Several Hydras getting picked up by the Phoenixes, and the rest of the army gets cleaned up. But the Roaches pushing in to this natural, absolutely decimating that probe line once again. 31 over 61, almost half health. You can see a mothership is on the way. I don't think these Roaches are going to make it all the way up into the main to deal damage to that nexus, but a couple of them do and get intercepted by the forces. An excellent force field goes down on the small ramp, preventing the rest of the Roaches making their way up. Some Zerglings and a Roach dealing some damage to that third, but they're not going to take it down. It looks like the split up multi-pronged force that Nerchio has made gets dealt with equal number of reinforcements. You can see a straggling line of Roaches and Zerglings come pouring back into the third, but Titan, who's managed to clear up all of the impending invasion, finally has a single place to concentrate all of his forces, and he manages to push back the Roach force. However, Nerchio has bought enough time to grab another expansion. You can see the fourth coming up as these forces continue to dart in and out, and the mothership hits the field. That cloaking ability is going to be absolutely a pang to deal with for Nerchio. He's going to have to morph in some overseers or get some some heavy fungal growths on the field. You can see that level 2 range is coming out, so he's going to continue to rely on that Roach Hydra mixture, which again is very effective against these Phoenixes if you just manage to corner them in one area. But Titan's doing a really good job keeping them alive and keeping the pressure on the field. Looks like he's darting in, doing some damage, taking an Overlord, lifting off a Queen. And with no Spore Crawlers in the area, that Queen's definitely going to go down. Maybe not on this lift up, but maybe on the next. There's a Spore Crawler doing some damage. Doesn't quite manage to take out all of the Phoenixes, but definitely takes out one. Bottom right corner, 3 Overseers supporting this large Roach Hydra army. It looks like they're enough to take them down. If those Overseers weren't there, if Nerchio wasn't looking far ahead, this would have played out differently. It looks like the Roaches are trapped on the back, and a Vortex goes down. Nerchio quickly microing his units into that force field's Vortex so that they're safe inside, and once they emerge, they'll all be clumped up. A single Archon goes into, his splash damage is going to do more, but it's right there and everything hits it right away, so they all go down. It looks like this mothership's taking a lot of damage from the Hydras in the area, but there's not a lot of Hydras left. It looks like they're going to be enough to take it down as 42-0. Mothership goes down and Titan immediately calls GG because he knows that he pretty much relied on its cloaking ability to carry him through that battle. Those Phoenixes scouted out this 4th. He knew that it was coming too, and that as time progressed, with him having half of the probes, he basically needed to make a miracle happen with that standing army, because as the game went on, that economic gap was just going to get worse and worse for him, and eventually be looking at a Broodlord Infestor army against just pure gateway units, and that would have been a bad thing. You know what wasn't a bad thing was this game. It was awesome, and this whole series was fantastic. Unfortunately, Nerchio takes it 3-1. RoxkisTITAN, great game. Nerchio, congratulations. Thanks guys for watching. I am Big and Scary, and I'll see you guys later.